Hi everybody, Cam Sweet here from the Garage Connection and Central Digger Supply. Coming to you today with a video about what I think might be the best entry-level gasoline-powered mini excavator on the market. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to try to nail down an excavator that dollar for dollar you really can't compete with through any other major manufacturer. This machine, which is a Huayee 14C, as we can, well, you can't read it, but it's HY14C. This machine was kind of built and marketed as not a direct competitor to the DM12C that AGT sells, but essentially as an alternative to that type of machine. So when I got notified about this machine and how it compares to the DM12C, there was a list of things that we needed to make sure that this machine does. That way it can be a comparison, and we're not comparing like a 2-ton mini excavator to something you buy at the auction. So there's a few categories that we had to make sure we hit. We're going to talk about those categories now. So the requirements that this machine needed to have for it to be comparable against a DM12C, it had to have the Briggs and Stratton engine. All right, the 420 Ratto was, not that it's not going to cut it, but Briggs versus Briggs. So it had to have that. It had to not have pilot controls. It had to have a side boom or a boom swing, and it had to have a hydraulic thumb as standard. So these were the rough kind of requirements that it had to have to make sure that it was a fair comparison. And this machine, I'm very happy to say, satisfies all those things, and then has many more features that I think set it far and away above any other machine that I've come across in this price point and in this size. So let's go through all these little features that this machine has that really puts it kind of a level above all the other ones. All right, so the first place that we're going to start is at the front of the machine here in terms of the bucket and the associated components. So the DM12C factory does not come with a quick attach coupler. Yes, I know you can buy them out there. We're talking about an out-of-the-box machine and the features that you have with it. So this one does come with the quick attach coupler. It has the style where you pull the pin and you flip the lever down the front, and it stays open until you get to your next attachment and you click into it. So that's a check mark for this machine right away. The other thing is the bucket on this machine is significantly heavier duty than a lot of the entry-level auction machines that you see out there. And the way that they ran the hydraulic thumb is much, much better. The thumb itself is fairly beefy, right? Admittedly, I mean, credit where it's due. It's a very, very nice thumb. But the machine was designed to have a hydraulic thumb. It doesn't use that L bracket that breaks that you bolt on to where the manual thumb was. So this one has an anchor point up high. It has normal style grease fittings that hit the pins, and all the pins are retained by these captured screws right here. So, this is, you can kind of see the quality behind this build. Also, there's protection on all of the hydraulic thumb hoses, and it does come standard with the 3-way valve, so you don't have to upgrade that also. The DM12C does come with a 3-way valve and all the hoses factory. So that's, it's kind of a check for both machines in that regard. So the next thing we're going to look at is the arrangement. It's like I live at an airport. The next thing we're going to look at is the arrangement of the cylinders and the boom and how that ties into the main body of the machine. So on the DM12C, much like this mounting bracket, everything is flat pieces of metal that have been boxed in and welded to capture this whole pivot assembly. And the other thing is on the DM12, the hydraulic cylinder is in the front. And so if you're not careful, you can hit that cylinder and damage it. Where this machine, they have located the hydraulic cylinder at the back of the boom, protecting it from serious damage. The other thing is this whole section here is a big singular cast piece that runs the boom swing, and it's not the welded together plate like the other machine. And then all the hoses are very nicely run in here. They all have chafing guards on them. They're all located inside the boom to protect them from any sort of damage or abrasion. And all the pins and stuff like that we see here, they're all either captured or double lock nutted. And there's normal grease fittings on all these to go ahead and do your maintenance. The other thing that you see on this machine, the blade over there, that blade is up as high as it can go. And you can see there's a decent amount of clearance up underneath that blade. So it's not flat against the ground like some of these machines and impossible to get over things. And then the tracking assembly, let me zoom in on this here. The track assembly is pretty standard. You got the 2 pivot wheels on the bottom, you got the drive in the back, and the track tensioner in the front. No surprises there. Now the controls of this machine are the forward style controls here. Obviously we don't have pilots, but the way that these controls are laid out, in my opinion, is more user friendly due to the fact that the boom, swing, and the thumb are on foot pedals instead of having that little side lever. It allows you to do more movements at once, and I don't know, I think that's a nice feature. The control tower and the body panels and stuff, they're essentially identical to a DM12C because, as we know, a lot of the body panels for these machines are made in one location, and then a bunch of different manufacturers just use the same body panels. No surprises there. It kind of makes sense. The nice thing about this, and I hope you can see it, let me make sure we can get that pedal in the shot. We can, okay. So the nice thing about this pedal is, right now this pedal is a footrest. It's locked out. I can't move it. And if you swing this door out of the way, it allows you to actuate the pedal and move the boom swing. That's a really, really nice feature, not only for safety, but the fact that if you don't want to use the machine with the boom swing, you got somewhere to put your foot, and that's pretty neat. The throttle is essentially the same as all the other machines that are out there with the ratcheting throttle. It does not have like a progressive throttle, so you just pick a setting and you go for it. And the levers and stuff like that, I mean, everything's pretty tight and reasonably well built here. And I like how they offset the blade lever in the center here as opposed to kind of putting it way down the front. That's a pretty nice feature. And here obviously we have the tracking levers forward and back. Now the operator station of the machine is very spacious, this obviously not being a cab unit, and the rollover protection or the roll cage is not, I wouldn't say it's rated for street racing, but it's reasonably thick and well built, and it looks like it would at least put up a fight if you flop the machine over. And the other nice feature that this machine has, it actually has a magnetic beacon right here that you throw up on top, and it just spins as the machine's being used just for safety. I haven't seen a lot of the other manufacturers do this, and that's a pretty nice touch for the end user there. The seat is the standard quality that you would find out there. It does have 2 armrests, and it does flip forward and back on a hinge in the front by undoing a locking nut back here. It allows you to access the top side of the engine compartment fairly easily. All right, so now we're going to get to the part of the video where we start seeing some of the differences and really where this machine sets itself apart from a lot of the other ones out there. Now the engine itself is the 13.5 XR Briggs. There's no surprise there. And I did a little bit of looking around inside the engine compartment. The things that I noticed that make a big difference, the engine is actually mounted on rubber mounts. Now I know all these machines have like a urethane or a rubber engine mount, but people have found that it's more like it's bolted to the chassis and that just has like a urethane thing around it, where this one's actually sitting on rubber mounts on a mounting plate. So when you start the engine up, the rumble, yes, you can feel it, but it's not overbearing or overpowering. Now this machine, if you notice on the doors, and you can't really see it inside the engine compartment, but I promise you it's there, it has sound deadening material essentially all over the inside of the body. It's up underneath the seat, it's on the forward panel, it's on the outboard panels, and that is something that not a lot of manufacturers are doing, and it drastically cuts down on not only the noise and the rattling, but also some of the heat that's generated inside the engine compartment. The other thing that this machine has, it has you can call it a cold air intake. Essentially the the fan that blows across the cylinder heads and cools the engine down is pulling air in from this right side panel here. The air intake for the motor is just, obviously it's located behind this air filter here, but the cooling air for the machine gets drawn in from the outside of the engine compartment. And what that does is it just promotes a more even transfer of the heat out of the engine compartment, as opposed to it just recirculating inside the engine compartment. Now, this machine does have a normal pump, so it has just a gear driven pump that you'd find on a lot of these machines. But the one thing I noticed is the coupler between the two of them. So let's get a better shot of that coupler, and I'll briefly talk about what this coupler is versus some of the other ones. All right, so I'm going to try to explain this the best way I can. This is the coupler between the pump drive and the engine drive, okay? Now, normally these couplers are 3-jaw couplers, and there's a little isolator between them. This one is not that type. This actually has a bunch of teeth on the outside of it. I don't know if there's a way to let me see if I can get a better shot of those teeth. Yeah, right there, you can see them. This machine has a bunch of teeth, and this thing kind of orbits around the outside of it in here. So I'm not really sure why they felt necessary to do that, but just going off of the rest of the machine, I can kind of tell that it's probably a premium upgrade over the other type of coupler. And I mean, if they felt it necessary, it's obviously there for a reason. So I'm not going to doubt their engineering. The other thing that this machine has is a hydraulic cooler with a fan. Now, that is not the same as a lot of the other manufacturers. The DM12C does not have this whole hydraulic cooler assembly in here. This one comes with it factory. That's a very, very nice option. Now, if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know that the hill that I am willing to die on when it comes to these machines is the fact that they need an external case drain system. I don't know how many posts a day are out there saying my hydraulic wheel drive motor is leaking. What do? I need a new seal, blah, 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 blah. You don't really need a new seal. You just need a place for that extra hydraulic pressure to go. This machine comes factory with the external case drain option. That is a massive upgrade. I cannot even tell you how important it is to have the external case drains on these machines. And this one, being an entry-level machine, comes with that factory. Not only that, they also, because it's the right thing to do, they felt it necessary to put a case drain on the swivel motor for the turntable. Now, what that looks like right there, that is the case drain for the hydraulic swivel motor, okay? Because as we know, the pressure ports are down below. So that goes back to the hydraulic tank with the rest of the case drain and relieves the pressure on that hydraulic swivel motor. And that is absolutely, I can say it without question, that is the first time I've ever seen that on a machine, and one in this price range. I mean, that's crazy. Right, I want to talk about something else that is important in kind of describing the quality of the machine, and that's the fit and finish. So we know that when you get a machine from the auction, usually they're banged up, usually the paint's coming off them in a couple places, maybe a hose is chafed, something like that, the powder coating's flaking off. This machine doesn't have any of those problems at all. The coating looks like it's very, very well done. The powder coating itself is thick, it's robust, the welds look pretty damn good. The body panels were all nice and straight. The paint's in good shape. I mean, it's like, if you want to just buy a piece of shit at the auction and spend $3-4 grand for it, that's fine. I know you're probably not going to be interested in something like this, but if you want to buy a machine at this entry level that's going to last you, and it's put together right, the manuals are easy to read, all these different things, this company is a pretty safe bet. I'm still not sure how you say the company, Huayee. I think Huayee or Hua or something. But anyway, so you can get yourself one of these machines for just a small amount above what the DM12C would sell for, and done. Turn the key, off you go. So we're going to talk about that price right after we hop on the machine. We do some limited movements just to kind of show you how smooth this machine is comparative to some of the other ones. Now, I apologize in advance if the audio gets all screwed up when I start the thing up, just because of the old lavalier microphone here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the revs up decently high. That way it's not like I'm just idling the thing for you. So let's talk about the cost on something like this. So there's a couple different ways to get a hold of these machines. This one was sent to me by the gentleman up in Georgia at Energy Power Systems. There was no they didn't pay me to make the video. I'm a fan of quality, so I figured I would give this machine the respect that I think it deserves. So getting one of these machines, there's a couple different options. You can try to find one on eBay. You can try to find one through Huayee website. You can just hit up Robert Lee Ray. Just, hey, I saw the video. I'm interested in one of those machines. So that's a way to get one. The cost on it is a little bit, it's kind of complicated. So AGT on their website, I'm not talking about auctions because the DM12C does not come up at auctions very often. So if somebody's like, oh, I bought one for $2,900, congratulations. But if you wanted one, whenever you wanted one, right? AGT's website, $6,800, $6,900, somewhere around there, plus tax, and you got to deal with the unloading and all that stuff. So $6,800 gets you a DM12C from AGT's website and essentially the handshake warranty. This machine is around $7,500. It might be a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on kind of your exact situation. So you're talking about a difference of, let's just, at worst, let's say it's $1,000, right? $1,000 more. So what does that $1,000 get you? It gets you a machine that has a quick attach. It gets you a machine that's, the hydraulic thumb was intentional. It's not like a side effect. It gets you a machine that has the hydraulic cylinders on the outside of the boom. It gets you a machine with case drains on both the drive motors and the swivel motor. It gets you a machine with a hydraulic oil cooler and with all the sound deadening and heat deadening material inside the engine compartment to make sure that your experience is that much better with this machine. Not to mention all the other little features like the beacon, the pedals, stuff like that, the fit and finish. So if you're looking for one of these machines and you want one that's well built, well put together, thought out thoroughly, and that has all the features that you would wish that some of the other entry-level machines have, consider buying one of these machines. Again, this one's an HY14C. It is by far and away the best put together machine in the 1 to 1.2-ish ton market. So I hope this video helps you out in making a decision on potentially buying one of these machines. That's going to do it for today. Cam Sweet here from the Garage Connection and Central Digger Supply. First, saying thank you for supporting the channel and also encouraging you to get out there and stay on those projects. Thank you.